Welcome back. Thank you for joining us again for the Joyful Noise Music Academy with John Castile. In that last lesson, I really dropped a big one on you there at the end with the circle of fists. So I want to spend some time in this video going more in depth to the concept of the circle of fists and explain it the best I can in the next 9.5 minutes. So let's look at the diagram that we looked at in the last video. This is your traditional circle of fists diagram, and I'll explain how it's structured and then how it actually works. The reason it's called the circle of fists is you'll notice when you start at C, which is where it begins, it really can start anywhere, but we usually start at C with it. And we go to, on the keyboard, to the right. Well, I'm going to go in the sharp direction, which will be to the right first of all. So if we go from C to 5 notes up, counting starting at C, so C, D, E, F, G, G is considered a fifth away from C. So your first fifth from C goes to G. Okay, if you count these by semitones, you're going to see that there's 7 semitones. And that's important once we get into some of the funky stuff. But from C, if we go up 7 semitones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we end up on G. So you can either count it as fifths away or 7 semitones away. The same for the next one. A fifth away from G, starting with G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, puts you at D. Counted by semitones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 semitones also puts you at D. The next one, let's start with semitones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 put you at A. If you count it alphabetically, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the reason it's called the circle of fifths is because they are fifths away from each other as far as the notes go. Again, according to semitones, they're always 7 semitones away from each other as well. So as you go to the right, you're going to consider those sharps. As you go to the left, you're going to consider them flats. Now these little symbols up here are called the key signatures. And you're going to notice the first fifth away from C has 1 sharp. The second fifth away from C has 2 sharps. The third fifth away from C has 3 sharps. The fourth fifth away from C has 4 sharps, and so on and so forth. It technically, theoretically, goes up to 12 sharps because there's 12 notes in the chromatic scale, but we typically stop at 7 because there's 7 notes in the diatonic scale, and that's usually all we have to worry about. But it does technically go on up to 12, but we're going to stop at 7 for the purposes of this chart in this video. So again, when you go to the right or go up notes, that's going to be called sharps. Once you go down the keyboard to the left, those are going to be called flats. Another thing worth noting, you will never see in the key signature flats and sharp symbols mixed together. They will always all be either sharp or flat. You'll never see them mixed together simply because of the reference point in which they're referring to. All right. Now, let's look a little more in detail at how this whole, whole, half, whole thing comes into play. So if we're at the key of C, and I'm going to start way down here on the far left. Okay, when we go up a whole step from C, we get to D. When we go up a whole step from D, we get to E. A whole step from D is E. The next pattern is a half step. So from E up a half step puts it at F. Going from F up a whole step puts us at G. From G a whole step puts us at A, and A whole step puts us at B. There are no what we call sharps in the key signature because we're not playing any of the black keys. Okay, so that's what's important here. Now, as we go up a fifth from C, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that means we're going to be now in the key of G. The key of G has 1 sharp in it. It's 1/5 up from C, therefore it has 1 sharp. What is that sharp? Well, it's F sharp according to our chart, but let's show you how to figure that out. So if we start at G and we go up a whole step, puts us at A. Up another whole step puts us at B. Up a half step puts us at C. Up a whole step is D. Up a whole step is E. And then up another whole step puts us at F sharp. Okay, that's why there's one sharp in the key of G. Now if we go up a second fifth away from C, that puts us at the D note. So this is the key of D. Okay, since it's the second fifth away from D, we're going to have two sharps in the key signature. So if we do our whole, half, whole process, if we start at D and we go up a whole step, that puts us at E. Up a whole step puts us at F sharp. Then we go a half step. So from F sharp, we go from here up a half step. That puts us at G. And then a whole step from G is going to be A. A whole step from A is going to be B. Then a whole step from B is going to be C sharp. Therefore, we have two sharps in the key signature, F sharp and C sharp, because of this whole, half, whole sequence. Go up 3/5 from C is going to put us at A. Since it's 3/5, there's going to be three sharps, just the way it works out. Now, if we follow the math and follow the pattern, if we go up a whole step from A, we get to B. A whole step from B, we get to C sharp. Up a half step puts us from C sharp, we go to D, because we're again following the whole, half, whole. So from D a whole step, we get to E. A whole step from E, we get to F sharp. A whole step from F sharp, we get to G sharp. There's our three sharps. See how that works out? Next one is going to be the same. We go to E, follow the whole, half, whole pattern. We're going to find out there's four sharps in that key. If we go to B, which is a fifth away from C, we're going to have five sharps in there. Again, if you count the whole, half, whole pattern, you'll discover what those are, or just look at the chart to verify it. A sixth fifth away from C gives us six sharps, and then a seventh fifth away from C gives us seven sharps. And again, you can follow the whole, half, whole pattern to figure out what those are. Now, going in the flat direction, okay, if we start with C and we go down the keyboard to the left, what we're going to find out, if I'll move myself out of the way here, going to the next fifth down from C, we're going to end up on F. Again, we could count that as semitones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or simply 5 notes down. There's your first fifth. If you do the whole, half, whole pattern, now you're not going to continue to go down the keyboard once you establish the first note. Okay, so once we go a fifth down from F, we're going to go a whole step back up the keyboard. So a whole from F is going to be G, a whole from G is going to be A half from A is going to be B flat. We're not going to call it A sharp because we're dealing with flats in this case. A whole step from B flat is going to be C, then from C to D and D to E. There's where we get our one flat in the key of F. Second fifth going in the flat direction from C is going to be B flat. So if we start there and go a whole step, we get to C, another whole step, we get to D, a half step, we get to E flat, not D sharp, but E flat. And then a whole step, we get to F, then G, then A. And the sequence simply continues all down the keyboard until you find all 7 of your keys in the flat direction on the keyboard. That's a lot of information, and I'll have these charts available for you to print and to have via this page on the website where this video is posted, so you can print this out and look at it. But this is how the circle of fifths works, and this is how you figure out all the sharps and flats in every single key on the circle of fifths. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.